Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana weather. It is 7:24 here on Monday evening, February 24th, 2014, and we have, guess what? A little bit of light snow working our way into our northern counties. It seems like sort of a redundant thing to say that we have snow around. This is the winter that just won't end. Unfortunately, this is the way it is, and it looks like this pattern is going to stick around for a little while again. Really quickly, today's video update is being sponsored by High Voltage Mobile DJ Service. You can give Nathan a call here at 630-9465. Make sure you visit him on the web as well at djhighvoltage.com. He's got a great website with a lot of pictures on there. You can check out their mobile stage. They're the only DJ in the area that has that one-of-a-kind mobile stage. So be sure and give them a call if you are in need for a DJ for an upcoming wedding or prom or anything else around the area. They do a fantastic job. All right, it looks like light snow is going to stay more confined up to our northern counties tonight. So Bloomington area here, up around Seymour, all the way down into the southeastern part of the state. You see this is starting to develop a little bit, but it's sort of moving off like this. So don't think it's going to affect any more of our southwestern counties here. It's pretty much going to stay confined to this area, continue moving off before it decides to become pretty much nothing as we move in through the rest of the nighttime hours. Temperature-wise, though, it's certainly cold enough to stick. So in areas where it's at, you may end up with a light coating of snow, but you're probably not going to get a whole lot more than that at this point. I want to take you, though, and show you the hypometer is already going out there in the world for for what could be potentially a major system next week. And I'm not going to hype it up. I don't do that. I don't believe in that stuff. I believe in telling you honestly what's going to happen, and I'll show you honestly what the models say, but I also don't want to hype it up and make it seem like it's going to be the end of the world either. Here's the reason why. Here's what our storm system is going to be for Sunday and Monday. And you can only see part of it coming here on our visible satellite here coming to the west coast. Folks, this is 1,000 miles off the shore of California, and it's got a long way to go before it even gets on shore, enters our upper air network, and can be fully sampled. So that's just the reality of the way it is. It's far too early to say for 100% degree of certainty this is what we're going to have. And what I'm going to show you is all three of our main models are in complete disagreement as far as this winter storm. It does look like somebody is going to get hammered pretty big by it, so we want to take a look at it very seriously. Now, let's talk about tonight and tomorrow before we get into that, though, because we do have a little bit of light snow that we have to deal with this week. Let's talk about future radar, and let's sort of time this out. Here we are in future radar. There's some of that very light snow shower activity. Remember, these first shades of gray here are just very light snow shower activities. That's what's showing up out there tonight. Nothing to worry about. Very minor accumulations, a light coating, a dusting at best, really, for some of you. Probably not much more than that. This pretty much fades away, and as you can see then, by the time you go into the overnight hours, maybe a few more snow showers. That's about it. Go into Tuesday, the first part of the day clears out, looking like partly cloudy skies as we wake up tomorrow morning, turning mostly cloudy a little bit later in the day. And then as you can see during the afternoon hours, you start to see some of those light snow showers start to wind their way back into the area. And then it looks like Kentucky may actually get some fairly heavy snow showers at times over Tuesday night. It's questionable as far as how far north that makes it for us. The GFS model wants it to, and the Canadian models also want to take that moisture a little bit further north here. The high resolution NAM that I'm showing you here is not very aggressive with that. So it's something that we're going to have to watch and see how it goes, but I am going ahead and putting a slight chance of light snow in there tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. What I've officially done is just said 1 inch or less in accumulations. I think most of us will probably stay far less than that 1 inch, but we may have a few isolated pockets that see up to that. Not a big system by any means, but by the time you come in on Wednesday, it could be a little bit of a mess for you in the morning, so keep that in mind. All right, let's time this out. Here's what the Canadian has to say about our storm system on Tuesday. And you can see it does spread those light accumulations in. Remember, the first blue line is your rain-snow changeover line. So all snow with this one. Everything north of the blue lines is snow. Everything south would be rain. So some heavy rain to deal with down south, but just some light snow for us to deal with. Put this in, keep on putting this into motion. You see, this is out of the picture. we're going to be left with high pressure large and in charge for a couple of days, and so we're going to have mainly sunny skies with just a few clouds, and that's going to be nice. The unfortunate thing about that is it's going to be very bitterly cold as we go throughout those days. You'll see that in a minute. Timely that I'm wearing my Hawaiian shirt again, as a friend from one of our friends from our media partner, the Courier and Press, pointed out the last video I wore this in, that he appreciated that I wore the Hawaiian shirt. Well, I'm rebelling against winter, and I'm rebelling against winter again. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to classify as even normal in the next 15 days temperature-wise to show you. Normal high temperature this time of year is somewhere near 50 degrees. Normal temperature for our low is around 30 degrees. It's specific by each individual city, but that's pretty a general rule for our area. I have some days in the forecast that you're going to be seeing that, folks, we're not even going to make it up for a high temperature for what our normal low temperature should be. So I'm rebelling. That's just a personal thing. I'm sick of winter. I'm ready to forecast mostly sunny and 75 for a few days in a row. It's coming. I promise you, it's coming. I just don't see it in March right now. At least not the beginning point of it. We'll talk about that here in a bit. A few very cold nights though coming up, and then by the time Friday comes in, you've got another little storm system that could be moving our way and bring us the potential for some light snow accumulations. The Canadian is not very aggressive with this on Friday. It takes it more of a Friday night thing. The GFS takes it a little bit more into the overnight hours as well. We'll have to see who wins out on that. Regardless of whichever one ends up winning out, it's not going to amount to much. I'm forecasting just minor accumulations possible on Friday and Friday night, and you'll see that when we get to the 7-day outlook. The major storm system that we're going to talk about really is going to affect us starting on Sunday, and as we go through here, it looks like Saturday will be pretty much a dry day with as nice of weather as you can get for this cold period. But here we are by 18Z on Sunday, and for the non-meteorological folks, basically 18Z is just 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time, noon Central time. Having sort of a brain freeze here, but you can see this light snow according to the Canadian. Remember, here's your first blue line down here, and by the way, if you're close to that blue line, then you run the chance of a wintry mix the closer you get to that blue line and just to the south of it. The Canadian takes us into what could be some potentially fairly significant snow for our area as this moves in. Now, that's one solution. There is another solution that's possible, and that's what the GFS is saying. Here, let's time it out on the GFS real quick. Notice the 540 line is sort of into our our US 50 corridor up here. It's more toward Martin County and then extending back down into the Louisville area. Watch this and how it moves in. By the time we come into the evening hours on Sunday afternoon, you've got a potential. But you notice the 540 line is not well south of us. And with this, the 540 line then goes to our north, and we're in this transition zone for what could be some fairly significantly heavy accumulations during this time. Yeah, you guessed it, this is not good. Let's take a look at a precipitation type for that. And you see by the time Sunday afternoon rolls around, the orange here is sleet. And then watch as we go through in time with this. If I can get it to work, here we go. Sleet takes over, then all of a sudden the freezing rain starts taking over, as you see in the pink. It confines the snow up to the north with this, and so what we end up staying with is really just an icy mess with maybe some light snow on the back side of this system. In fact, the GFS, if we just take a look at snowfall accumulation totals, gives us very minor accumulations of 2 or 3 inches. Frankly, I think that's pushing it. I don't think that we would get 2 or 3 inches out of this type of system here. The Canadian, on the other hand, buries parts of the area with snow, but it keeps it all snow, so you get all the way up to 4 or 5 inches in our area. That would be reasonable for staying an all snow event with this type of accumulation. Don't think we're going to stay all snow, though. I hate to admit it, but I do think the GFS's solution here of more of a sleet and wintry mix is more of a reasonable solution for us at this point. Hopefully we can push a system further to the north where it will just stay in all rain. And we'll say the European model is saying all rain right now. I don't have it pulled up to show you, but just trust me, it's saying all rain right now. So the reality is, for Monday, we just don't know what it's going to be yet. It's way too early to say exactly what it's going to be yet. And so according to the Canadian, we could end up having a heavy snow event. according to the GFS, we could have a heavy ice event. And by the way, yeah, if you believe the GFSs, I would easily see maybe a good half-inch to an inch of sleet, as long as the sleet stays over us, with another quarter to a half inch of freezing rain ice accumulation on that. I don't want to overhype this and say, oh, it's the end of the world, it's the apocalypse. No, it's not, because the reality is this is several days out, and this may not happen. I'm just telling you what the raw data happens to say. So again, as I'll say all the time, take it with a grain of salt. Okay, so the GFS gives us a heavy ice storm. You got the Canadian giving us a heavy snowstorm, or at least a moderate snowstorm anyway, maybe not heavy. And then you've got the Europeans saying that we warm up to about 36, 37 degrees, and the warm air surges to the north, and it confines the heavier snow and ice, what little ice there is with the Euro, up to northern Indiana, and we end up with an all-rain type of an event. Well, which one's going to win? We'll have to wait and see. We'll fine-tune that forecast in coming days. Right now, as you'll see when I get to the 7-day here in a minute, what I've essentially done is just put a wintry mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain potential in there. And we'll go from there. I think that's the best that we can say at this point. Could be this, could be that. Hopefully in coming days we'll start to fine-tune this. But either way you cut it, on the wintry side, it's not looking pretty at this point. Now, I want to show this and point this out. I've seen this image floating around on the internet, and anytime these float around, I inevitably get asked questions. Is this really going to happen? And the hype meter is already large and out there with this system. So this is just a simple case in point to say, be very careful, folks, who you get your weather from. The guy who runs this site, it's called the Weather Space. I've just I've taken the image and just whited out the website. You don't need to visit it. This is a garbage site. Let me just say this really briefly. I don't want to down another meteorologist. I never like to do that. But see, here's the problem. This guy's not a meteorologist. He's a fraud. This guy likes to pretend that he's a meteorologist when the reality is he has no degree. He has no formal training. And he does this for money, well, which most meteorologists do things for money. That's not a bad thing. But most of us are respectable and believe in the science behind this. This guy overhypes events to get sponsors and do for money. And that's exactly what he did with the severe weather threat that we had on Thursday. He said it was going to be a violent tornado outbreak. Well, we didn't have any violent tornadoes at all on Thursday. And he said we would have several. And timing was way off. He threw another one of these graphics out that got shared thousands of times over the internet. This one's already starting on this. I mean, look at how large of an area he say it's just going to be literally millions of people. You know, the reality is this storm's going to move out to sea, so a lot of these folks up in here are not going to have a heavy snow threat to begin with. The whole eastern half and the central part of the country is not going to be affected by this storm, not even close. This is a joke at best and a fraud at worst. So all this to say, just be very careful who you get your sources from. You've watched my videos, then you know that I'm very scientific in how I do. I have my bachelor's degree in meteorology and atmospheric science. I served my sentence, so to speak, and I enjoy what I do in keeping you safe, and I want to do it in a respected manner. Folks like this give meteorologists a bad name, sadly. So just be very careful who you get your weather information from. Trusted local sources, folks. That's who you want to stick with. Trusted local sources. Whether that's your news station, whether that's me, whoever you trust, look at their track record. Are they consistently right? You can look at my track record, and I do believe that I'm consistently right. If you look at this guy's track record, he's a joke. He's wrong most of the time. And then he takes maps from the National Weather Service and tries to falsify them and say that he's right. Be very careful who you get your weather from, folks. I like what a colleague of mine down in North Carolina did. It's kind of humorous, but sometimes you have to fight stupidity with some more stupidity, right? Because this guy also posted with it how millions are going to be affected by this weather event, and so Brad Panovich down with CNBC in Charlotte, North Carolina, posted this. Look, over 317 million people will be affected by weather. I love this. Some kind of weather impact. But you know what, folks? That's exactly what the kind of thing is we're facing. The reality is this far out, we don't know what it's going to be. I will show you the models. I don't overhype these things. I just give you the scientific basis behind it because that's what I do. I want to keep you guys safe. Tracking winter storms, keeping you safe. That's what I do on southern Indiana weather. I want you to be prepared for what could come, but at the same time, I don't want to overhype it. Could we have a winter storm? Yes, absolutely we could. On the other hand, it may be cold rain. Keep it tuned here. We'll have to see how it comes out. What I can tell you is if you take a look at the next 15 days, the raw temperature of the GFS ensembles, we don't even come close to normal. It's going to be cold. Climate Prediction Center agrees for the next 10 days. They keep us below normal. You can go to southernindianaweather.com, folks. Get your 7-day forecast. Again, light snow possible tomorrow night and tomorrow. Light coating up to less than a half an inch. Sunshine, and then we got a little bit of snow to deal with on Friday. By the time you get into Sunday and Monday, I'm just putting it as a wintry mix of snow, sleet, and ice because we don't know. But we'll fine-tune that in coming days, all right? Cold no matter how you slice it. Have another one of these videos tomorrow, folks. Until then, stay safe.